Yo, yo, what's happening, folks? At the home office today, and here shortly, I'm going to be bringing on my brother Luka Hocevar. I am sure the majority of you guys know who Luka is. 10 years ago when we met, a lot of people knew him. I mean, he's been doing it for a really long time, but when we first met, he wasn't as well known as he is now. I remember talking to sport performance coaches and like dropping his name, and they're who? Now, I bet you can mention that name to almost anybody and they know. So, Luka is a wealth of information. He is going to drop some real game on you guys, I am sure. He never disappoints. So, hopefully, a lot of you guys will be here live for this. If not, no harm, no foul. You'll get the replay drop below too. So, it's about 10:59. He should be getting on sooner than later, and with any luck, I'll get him on fast because, like I told him earlier, he is hands down probably the most tech savvy guy that I've interviewed so far. So, who's watching? Who's watching? I see two people just jumped on. Show me some love. I'm on this iPad thing again, and I'm not so sure how to read your messages, but and I can't see two of you. All right. Well, while I'm waiting on him, I just read an IG message we were sharing before because he shared this book, and I've actually quit recommending books to people here recently because I feel like the trap of consumption can create some problems when you really got to do work. That was a big problem for me. It's very easy for me. Like, this is in my wheelhouse. I mean, I can't turn this camera around, but I'd show you. I'm sitting in my home office, and you've got, I mean, there's probably 2,000 books in here. And consumption was my jam. So I quit recommending them, but this one we were talking about, and I know other people I've been reading it. This is just packed full of wisdom. I mean, this is just a really incredible book. So if any of you guys are looking for something new, check that out. Check that out. Luka, if you can hear me, if you're on, because I got no idea if you are or not, you got a request to get in. See if I can figure it out yet. Still not showing nobody. It's not showing who my viewers are. It says I have 2 people watching. If you're watching, drop me a note or something. Ah, there's Jordan. Okay, good job, Jordan. Thank you for that. Now I don't feel like I'm just sitting here talking to nobody. I got 3 people on, but Jordan is the only one that is showing. That is some weird shit. Well, we'll see how this goes, gents. Jordan, since you're the only guy talking to me, if Luka don't get here, I might just bring you on. He's on Pacific Standard Time, so I'm starting to get a little worried that, I don't know, here we go. He's asking me how to join. Gotcha. Yeah. Jordan, how did you get that thing to come up that says bring them on camera? Did you request that somehow? I don't know why Luka's not. Jordan is the only one showing on here. God damn it, I'm about to be done with this shit. I'm gonna have to create another strategy, do Zoom or something that I actually know how to use, you know. Why the Yeah, the phone and iPad part seems to be the thing. I can't remember if Pete was on a iPad or not, but I do remember Sean had to get on his. Boom, we're in the game. It is bringing him on. It is bringing him on. Well, at least I think it is. There we go.
So
There we go. There we go. We did it.
it's not. Yeah, it's not working on my. It's not working on my computer, but it's working on my phone.
Yeah, I wonder if there's a way to make it work on the computer. That might be an error on my part because you know me in tech, so you know not my jam.
Yeah, I didn't like. I got a thing called Be Live that I can do this on, like in different groups or whatever. With the link, it's like I pay for a monthly, but I didn't even know you can do this on just doing an invite, asking to join like you do on IG and shit.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, hold on. You're already dropping things. What was the name of that thing again?
Be Live.
Be Live.
Be Live.
Right.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Like you can do. I'm trying to like know where to look right now. It's just weird.
Yeah.
Hold up. I'm gonna close my laptop up and do this real quick.
I got Cody's on. I see you, Cody. What's good?
All right. I think this should work.
Right.
This should work.
You ready to do this?
I
I mean, my camera's
like
over here, so like I'm looking around. It takes a while to get used to it, but
I'm still waking up, so you know this is good.
I know. I was like, it's still early for you. That's why when I started doing the math on the time zone, I was like, shit.
It is, but it isn't. But it's like I worked late as hell last night. So
yeah, no. Yeah, you usually do. So
what is going on, my friends? What is going on, my friends?
We're just out here doing this thing. We've had a lot of people on, and originally when I asked people like, who do you want to interview, your name popped up a million times. So I was really glad we were able to pull this off. While I was waiting for you to get on, I was telling people that, like, 10 years ago, I mean, you were already doing your thing. That's about when we met. But I remember asking people in the sport performance space about you, and some people knew you, but like, people were like, who? Okay. Now, I don't know anybody that doesn't know you. It's so funny now, like over the past 10 years, you've covered so much ground, both in fitness and sport performance, that it's hard to get away from you. Like so many people have ran upon your content.
Yo, you know who said, I like this a lot. I might have Pete. Somebody said it. It wasn't Pete, but I think Pete shared it. And somebody, how did you become successful? Gradually, then suddenly.
That's good.
Like gradually over 15 years, and then suddenly, you know. So I think there really is a compounding to all this stuff. And you know what? I'm gonna give some examples. I like giving like real world examples of stuff, because people are so bought into this. I think just the world we live in, you know, you go on social media and you're seeing stuff, and you know, of course you have a desire to, you know, make money and be known and blah 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 blah, right? And it's crazy because like it takes time, but you know, everything comes down to like, you know, the same way we coach nutritionists and this stuff, right? Consistency. Well, first I say, you know, consistency and focus on quality, right? Then get consistent, then get frequent, right? And then it's like, then over a period of time, it just compounds.
Yeah.
So for instance, you know, like I was just sharing the book, you saw that, but like Naval Ravikant, like if you want to go get your mind fucking blown, I first watched Joe Rogan interview with him. I mean, the dude is so smart. It's like you have to watch it over and over again, because it's like, yeah.
Did you go back and watch the one from like 2015? Yeah, I did too. I didn't even know who he was until that came out, and then I started doing the research. The book is phenomenal, and I ended up listening to that podcast too.
And so one of the things that he said is like, you know, he's talking about compounding, and he said the most important compounding, and I've been saying this for a long time, maybe not the way he said it, but the most important compounding there is relationship compounding. Okay, relationship compounding. And so you look back on when I moved to the US, and like from since I moved to, you know, to Seattle, it's starting to get blurry now. I was counting for, you know, up until about 240 live events. That's what I counted. Yeah. It started going away. But my point being is, like, if I go to 240 live events, and a lot, you know, a lot of them ended up being speaking later on, whatever. But majority at the beginning was all like attending to learn, meet people, and you know, there was a relationship compounding. Oh, you're at this seminar too. Hey, what's up? Let's go to lunch, right? Oh, let me introduce you to, you know, Martin Rooney. Let me introduce you to Stu McGill. You know, whatever, right? Like, and it just compounds, and you obviously then you invest in these relationships, and you know, you give more than you receive, and you do it without expectation. And the thing is, the first years, not months, years, there's nothing, you know, nothing that you can be like,
yep,
right,
yeah.
But over time, you know, it does start to like things open up, and like, I mean, I started a lot of, you know, like businesses, you know, I mean, like Steve Krebs, obviously one of my, well, as an example, me and you know what I mean? Like, I mean, we do a lot of stuff together. I'm sure like we'll pop off some business in the future. Who knows which one? But we will. You know, Martin Rooney became, you know, one of my closest friends. Basically, I bought in. Like, I ran a business division with him. Still do stuff with TFW, and on and on and on. You know, Joel Jameson. You know, on and on and on, right? And the thing is, like, this is the magic, though, right? That you know what the best, you know what the best part about that compounding of relationships is not like the deals or the money, none of that. It's actually what you get from it, you know, the fulfillment that you get from it. You know, we have stories, you know, like of trips and adventures, and you know, going to Slovenia and Italy and all the cool stuff. And same thing, like it's just that stuff is, you know, the stuff that I'll always cherish and remember the most, and excited to build.
Let me pause you 1 minute, because I want to get this thought out before I lose it. And it's a good opportunity to acknowledge this. And you know, I do this all the time, but I'll never quit doing it. My relationship with you has been pivotal for me. When I was starting to build an adult fitness program, like up until probably 10 years ago, we did no real adult fitness at that point. We were doing just athletes. And I started asking around about who does large group stuff really well, who would like align with me, because I need to go learn from them. I'll figure it out. And your name came up from multiple people. And I remember I called you one day and we had a great conversation on the phone. I even remember the book you recommended. You recommended, ironically, the book, The Compound Effect. That was one of the first books you actually recommended to me. And I was like, then I started watching, and I was like, man, I like this guy. Like, I can tell, like, I like him. He hoops. I just like him. I said, I'm gonna go meet him. And so I flew out there and we got to meet. And that was many years ago. And now annually I'm out in Seattle, usually multiple times. And you've become one of my closest friends, one of the people that I value the most, not just from a business standpoint, from like a real friendship standpoint. I mean, there are many days that, you know, I've just called you like, hey man, like I need to run this by you. I need to talk about this. If I didn't have people like you and some other people in my life, I don't think I'd be where I am today. It's been incredibly pivotal for me to help sort through my own thoughts and concerns about building a business. It's given me incredible insight in how to run a really good fitness business when that really wasn't my focus initially. So the relationship equity and the relationship capital that you build by really investing in people, it legitimately is life-changing. And you are one of the guys that I think does an incredible job of that. And I've watched that, and I've always considered relationship building one of my strengths, but you do it in a way that it's really impressive. And I don't even know how to put other words to it, but there's other people out there that I think are very tactical with relationship building, and it doesn't connect. They're networking, right? Whereas I think one thing that you do and I've tried to do is build real relationships with people. So I think because that's so important, I'd love to just let you rant for a couple more minutes about that. Like, what do you think is the key to really building authentic relationships like that? Because people will say like, give them a gift, follow up with a letter and an email. Yeah, I get it. Okay. But like, how do we go?
Yeah, that's tactical. It's tactical and it's good. I mean, first of all, thanks for sharing that, bro.
Yeah.
That means a lot to me, for real, man. You know I love you deeply.
Indeed.
I'm about to.
My wife thinks me and Luka are having an affair, just so you know. And she's totally okay with it.
She's right. She's correct. But here, okay, so I mean, obviously you gravitate, you know, like, I don't know, I'm sure like when you're coming up in the industry, you're coming up, like, even now, like, you know, there's people that you're drawn to, inspired by, right? I wanted to meet those people, right? Like some of the people that I was like, man, that guy's awesome, you know, now like they're my best friends, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, but the point of that being is, I've also met people and I'm like, man, that guy's dope. Then you meet him and you're like, man, I don't want to anything to do with this person, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I think it's the whole, you know, there's gonna be a weird, I mean, maybe not a weird answer, but like, you know, when you discover I think through relationships and through kind of searching for these relationships, you discover yourself, and the other way around. You know, the more you discover yourself, the more you know. Like now I'm clearer about who I want to be around. Yes. You know, like, oh, you're a trillionaire, cool, you know, but you're a dickhead, like I don't want to be, you know. It for real, like, I mean, I'll like, hey, listen, I'll read your book about investing, you know, and whatever, right? But and learn the strategic, tactical stuff. But I don't have anything to do with you type of situation. So I think there's this gravitation towards, you know, aspirations, like who you want to become, right? I do think that, right? Now I can tell you what I was drawn to when I was, you know, part of me was I was an idiot. You know, I fucked up a lot of stuff in my life, a lot. Me both. I mean, you know, we have that too. Like we did a lot of dumb stuff when we were younger, and older too. But you know, but the point being is that like even through that, I discovered like, oh, I don't want to be around these people, right? So I give like real examples. You know Mike Sims? Yeah. Don't know. Yeah, Mike Sims. That's my guy. But like. Yeah, but for instance, I met him in, you know, Wake Warrior, became good friends. He's an investor, real estate guy. But for instance, he became a good friend. I saw how he operated with his kids, right? And besides that, like I'd always grill him on. There's another great story about relationships, about how I might have made a really, really good investment deal by the end of this year that I'll get like a lot out of. Yeah. Until it's not on the bank account, though, it's not a real thing. Right. So we'll see. But once again, that was a Mike Sims relationship. You know, he connected me. I asked him to do my due diligence, brought me into a startup company. You know, that might be like a 10x, 15x return. We'll see. But it's looking good. Relationship. But what I was like seeing with him too was like, you know, we talk about life, you know, all the time and stuff like that. And then he talked to me about how he parents his kids. And I'd ask him all these questions. You know, he's like, man, like, you don't even have kids. I'm like, no, but like, I want to learn from somebody that aspirational to me when I do, you know, or even with the kids that are in my life that, you know, I'm like Uncle Luka, like 1,000 kids, you know? And like, but in like, right, I was drawn to that aspect of him, you know, like, I was super fortunate, you know, now it's been 4 years now. 4 years ago, I got invited Bionic Silver for this Evolved Enterprise thing to Necker Island to hang out with Richard Branson. been one of my entrepreneurial heroes. It's so crazy that you know, like that's still
Wow.
crazy. They you know, Evolved Enterprise is a dope book too. So I bought this. I bought a bunch of books from Yannick. I followed Yannick for long. He was one of the kind of early internet marketers, right? Like now he's more in philanthropy and stuff. He runs Mavericks. Did a bunch of stuff. So you know me, I'm the ultimate upseller, meaning I get upsold on everything, right?
Yeah.
Here's the book, buy the fucking course, join this. You know, like a $20 book became a $1,500 fucking thing, right? By the time I'm done with the funnel. And so I go through it and I'm like, man, and it was stuff that because I was so into it, is stuff I was doing with charity and what I wanted to do. Like, how do I give back more? How do I connect a for-profit business with, you know, kind of a social construct of giving back to the community? And one of the things in that kind of like process was they were like, hey, how are you doing Evolved Enterprise? You know? And I was like, fuck it, I'll fill this thing out. You know, I'm like, well, we've done 500 charity boot camps and raised this much money, and hundreds of gyms across the world do charity boot camps because we taught them how to do that, to generate leads, to build a community. So I'm like, you know, I have a consulting business that teaches how to do that too, you know, and I just fill it out and whatever is whatever, right? Like time goes by, I don't know, like 6 months, 9 months, whatever. I get this email from, like I don't even know the email. It's like, hey, like you are out of thousands and thousands of people, the most evolved enterprise, and you won a trip to Necker Island, you know? And like, I legit am like,
right.
Yeah,
it's like the African prince wants to send you money.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, and you know, like, you know, whatever. So I leave it. It was almost like a kind of, okay, maybe I'll email back. Maybe there's something to this. But like, I was legitimately not like, you know, like, yay, like this is real. I keep working. Then like about a week later, I get an email from Yannick directly, say, hey, Luka, man, like you got to let us know. You know, this is in April. Like we're only, I think it was like 3 weeks, 4 weeks out or something. And I had a scheduled event. It's weird. So I was in, forgot where I was at. I think I was in traffic conversion, something. Like I had to, you know, basically I was like, I had to cancel it, which was perfectly fine. But ended up, you know, I was like, dude, shit, this is real. He's like, yep, like fly to Virgin Gorda. You know, you're gonna spend a day and a half on Necker with the Maverick group, you know, and Richard Branson and everything else. And, you know, the incredible experience. I mean, one of the best experiences on that end of my life, as far as that goes. But, you know, bringing it back to that aspiration, you know, and because what that did, you know, and I had, he's an incredible dude. Like, you know, we're at this, he does all these parties and everybody dresses up. And I'm at the bar and he comes up to me and asks me, like, oh, what's your name? Luka. I was like, oh, Richard Branson. Yeah, I know that. But I mean, he, like, for about 20 minutes, you know, he's talking to me and asking me all these questions. I mean, it's like, that was like also like, wow, okay, I get why he is the way he is. Because, you know, here I am and here's this dude asking me all these questions, interested in me, right?
Be interested in people. There's a nugget right there. Pull that.
At the level, remember, at the level that he is at, right? Because he's, you know, he was explaining to us, he's like, hey, now he calls presidents. He's like, hey, I don't think you should, you know, I don't think you should opt out of this environmental, like, you know, group. You know what I'm saying? Like, but what it did also for me, you know, when we're talking about who you're drawn to, aspirations. Now, you know, Richard Branson is not like a close friend or anything. Right. Now, but what it did for me was like when I was there and all these conversations, everything that was going on, I was like, man, I can do more. You know, and it's and some things I absolutely did more. Some things are still churning and chewing, you know, kind of cooking, slow cooking in there. And because I know one of the things for me, like in business and life, is always how to give back beyond, you know, obviously, you know, if I create content or get on webinars or Zooms or podcasts, or, you know, I want to write a book, but like, I mean, like give back to individuals and community and do scholarships. And we're working on some stuff like that, you know, like some big things. And it's, you know, it will happen at the right time, but that, you know, it's that aspiration. I was drawn to him. I got an opportunity to be around him, you know, and then saw how he is, and my vision grew bigger. And I think that's what happens with the relationship side of things, right? It's like you go to a seminar, you meet somebody you haven't met, somebody introduces you to them, right? You hang around, you go to lunch. You're like, man, like this person has a lot of wisdom. I like, you know, if you're yourself, I think this is key. And this is a tough one too, you know, because what does being yourself mean? Like, we'll get really philosophical. Maybe we need, you know, fucking smoke some DMT while we're on this call.
I'm with the philosophy
and get really deep here. But you know, and the thing is, we're always, it's kind of like the Buddha analogy, right? Like the golden Buddha, right, that was covered by mud. It's like really we're just stripping ourselves the whole of our lives to kind of discover ourselves, right? Like, but I think that's part of what happens is like you're like, oh man, I love this dude, and you got to ask yourself like, why did you like being around this person? You know, the way they made you feel. I know when me and Farouja met, like now I think it's like 12 years ago now, 12 years ago. It was like we kind of knew about each other and we emailed a little bit. But it was a Sam Bakhtiar's event. You may rest in peace. You know, I love Sam. Was a close friend of mine, and it was his event. And you know, we're at the event. Whatever. Later we go. You know, Sam threw this little kind of party. You know, get together afterwards. We have some drinks. Me and Jay hit off. We're just like talking for hours. We go to Denny's. Fucking leave Denny's at like 4 a.m. Right. But here's what's really really important, and this is where people I think mess up. Word of advice, okay? I was at that event. Jay's like, yo, we should hang out more. I'm in LA. Legit, within like 2 to 3 weeks, I go to LA, right? Just for that. Actually, Krebs was with me. We go to LA, we go to a restaurant, have a great night. He's like, hey, fuck it, let's go out to party with the party. And, you know, and it was like, man, we got to hang out more. We got to hang, you know, boom, now we're on the call now, right? And that started kind of like that momentum. But like I've been big, like I'm very, most people, you know, I'm just like, okay, cool, I'm gonna fly out here and hang out with this person. And you know, like for what? Like just me.
Just cause.
And fly out and hang out. You know, Aubrey hit me up, it's like, yo, it's my birthday in Austin at the end of this month. Yep.
There.
I'll be there.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like and the thing is like that is investment, you know, and it's like it's an investment, but it's I promise you, like forget about like what happened for you. Like if you're doing it because it's like, ooh, you know, 3 years from now maybe we'll make a deal that's worth no, like go because you want to have a great time, and when you want to give your best to that scenario situation, hanging out. And the thing is, just the moment that you have is priceless and irreplaceable.
It is.
But you know, and what's so cool is that like what does happen over time is, you know, and maybe this whole theme can be compounding. Maybe it should be, because it's like there's so much stuff happening now that I feel like is a result of this compounding. And I'll share a couple other things too. But you know, I really do feel like what, you know, if I went back and like no deals were made, you know, or no relationship in business, or this person didn't connect me to that person, which ended up helping us build blah blah whatever, right? It would still be the best. I'd still do it. It'll be the best thing ever. I still have that memory of hanging out. And it really, like, you know, Naval said it, he mentioned it. Confucius actually said this, right? People have two lives, right? And the moment they start living their second life is the moment they realize they just have one.
Yeah.
Like, whoever's listening to this, I hope you understand how
that's
deep that is. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you go throughout your life, and maybe, you know, for instance, people have these weird constructs, right? Like, I turned 40 in 4 months, right? Like, it's like, ooh, when I turn blah blah blah, ooh, I have a kid, ooh, when you know, there's these milestones or whatever. But man, like, we just really got one, you know. And like, and I think, you know, not I know that I've come to the point where I'm like, ooh, okay, that's it. This is the one. This is the one. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think you kind of behave differently because, look, and he says it the same. I kind of agree with this, right? What people really want is like, they want to get rich, make money, they want to be fit, and they want to be happy. You know what I mean? Like, and here's the thing: is try to disconnect relationships and social equity, relational equity from any of those. Impossible. Like, it is literally it's literally what bonds everything.
Yep.
Right? It bonds everything. You take relationships out of any of those, well, and you're unhappy anyways. You know, most likely you'll not be healthy. Well, we know we're not gonna be healthy. It's like Dr. Vivek Murthy wrote a whole book about it called Together.
I bought that one too. Yeah.
Right? It's like, you know, number one predictor of mortality, loneliness. Right? You take, I mean, the most unhealthy thing that you can do when it comes to, it's more unhealthy than being obese, smoking a pack of cigarettes a day, is to be lonely. And of course, what does that mean? But separate yourself from people, be disconnected, not be socially connected. Like, that's how bad it is. Like, we're humans, like, we are creatures of, like, our brain grew because it needed to be more emotionally intelligent, remember names, be able to connect, not because it needed more IQ to build a fire. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to go back and like read the science of why our brains grew, it's another book called Social is pretty fascinating. But that's the point. Like, so if literally, like, we are a result of social connection, right? Like, the reason why, you know, mammoths aren't running the world is because of that. And so you think about how much you're investing in that. And I say that to people. I'm like, you're complaining about this, that, the other, but like, it's either you're not really having a lot of you're not investing a lot in your social connection and relationships, or you're investing in the wrong ones.
Yeah.
Like, you're investing in stock that's tanking. You know, people that aren't, you know, aspiring to do anything and be anything. They're always talking about other people, talking shit. They're negative. They're this, that, the other. And you have to constantly assess that, man. Just like you assess your food, you assess your bank accounts. You know, where's your money? You know, you're watching your wallet. Where's your time, your money going? Probably the most important thing to say, what you're committed to. You got to assess your environments, man. You got to assess the people around you. And it's hard. It's hard because we're so connected. And then if you really zoom out, and it's like, wow, there's these environments I'm in that do nothing. Like, they don't help me build behaviors, you know, to, I would say, attach to, or just to align with my goals.
Biggest change I made in my life was drastically altering my environment. Moving from Maryland to Alabama saved my life. It saved my kid's life. There's no doubt I'd be in prison and possibly dead if I didn't shift my environment. And that strategy has served me really well. Anytime I need change and I want to level up, I find the people that are doing those things and I invest in them and I get as close to them as humanly possible. And to kind of pull, like extrapolate some of the lessons that I think you've been sharing is, number one, you should probably be going to events and connecting with people more often. I think we both have benefited from that greatly by like a really ruthless commitment to like hitting the circuit, finding people you have shared values with, people who, when you are connecting with them, they help level you up because there's not that friction there because there's this like value disconnect, right? And then making sure that you are figuring out who you are by way of those interactions and living in your strengths. That's something that I've seen you do. It's something that I do a lot myself. So networking is probably, it's a dirty word because people look at it tactically, and the things we're sharing aren't tactics. It's about real investment. It's about really getting to know people.
And it's interesting too, because like, for instance, right, I think going to this is funny, right? I'm bringing it back to Naval because it's just so like I just got done with the podcast, finished the book, rereading it again, whatever, right?
Yep.
And he said that he bought a domain called idon'tdrinkcoffee.com because he said it's kind of a dick move, but because here's the thing, okay? So I struggle with this a little bit. I'm such a social person, right? That I'm scheduling meetings a lot, and a lot of them have led to really good things, okay? But now I'm in a place where like I have to be careful because I mean people ask me to do coffee and shit all the time, and it's just like, I mean, if you know, like him, he was like, hey, if my hour's worth $5,000, I either have to really want to be with this person, or task, or I have to I either say no, or I have to pay somebody else to do it because it's worth less than 5G. You know what I'm saying? So I'm more in a space, and I'm far from like perfect on this, by the way. It's like my gift and my curse. Figuring out where are we wasting our time, and like I said, look, this is a lifelong journey on figuring shit out. I promise you. I could talk right now for an hour about my weaknesses and obstacles, and and I'm pretty clear about them too. A lot of stuff in my, at least in my businesses now, is who, not how. Dan Sullivan wrote a book with some other dude. It's, I mean, and that the sentence says it all, right? Yep. Like, I am a learner. Like, I learn at speeds that like are somewhat psychotic.
Yes, you do.
Obsessive. I realize this, and I'm okay with it. Like I'm obsessive. I've changed how I learn now. Like sometimes I'll just read something and like love some part of the book that I read and leave it alone, and then go read 20 blogs on it and buy a course on it and then just leave the rest of the book because I do it.
All right, hold on. Let me touch on this because before you got on, what I was talking about is I shared this book and I was like, if I could flip my camera around right now, I probably got 2,000 books in this home office. But I noticed it became a problem for me because I was too focused on consumption. And a lot of it was like, oh, that's a good book. Okay, let me buy it. Let me consume it. But I would do nothing with it. And I think one of the things that you do a great job, I've even told you should build a product on it, is like how you take information and then build it into content. And that's another one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about because I don't know anybody who has cracked the content code the way that you have. And I know that that has come with an incredible investment of your time and your energy. But what you do a great job of is you take what you know and then you turn that into content. So as you're consuming material, you're using it, you're teaching it to others, you're teaching it to yourself. So it's getting deeper ingrained. And then it has that other residual benefit of being a content piece that can be multi-purposed, right? So that's one thing I definitely wanted you to talk about as well is advice on content, because I think a lot of people feel like their content doesn't have value and they're putting out what I would consider kind of just like, they're just putting shots out and they don't really know why and they don't know how to leverage this.
And I think at the beginning, even if you're putting shots out, I think it's good. It's fine if you, it's better doing that than not doing it, right? Like, but really, it's kind of you got to ask yourself. And sometimes you don't know. You know, if you're, I'll talk to anybody that's kind of just starting off too. You know, like you don't know who you are. Like you don't know who your market is, right? But if you're in fitness, it's like, okay, cool. Let's say you got 2 clients. Fuck, you know, you got 2 clients, and like, what are they there for? Oh, one's in back pain, wants to lose 15 pounds. The other one's like trying to lose 7. Okay, cool. Well, shit, like without content that would help those 2 people, like that's it. You know, what are the things that you're helping them with? It's that simple. Like, what would be useful? You know, I always say like, what's valuable, but what's useful? Like the useful stuff is like, and the thing is, and then when you understand a marketplace, right? Like, it's so funny because like, what am I, right? Like, people will be like, oh, that's the mobility guy. I'm like, what?
Right.
But, you know, I'm great at mobility. You know, Farouk said this. He's like, your problem is that, like, you just know too much shit, you know? Like, and then it's like, I'm figuring some stuff out too. But he's like, you know, you're better at mobility than them fucking some mobility people, right? That are like, mobility. And then you're better at this, you know, so you got to choose the lane. And I am actually on this, like, in fitness consumer, I am choosing the lane, like, going towards the like athlete for life. That's where I'm going, and that's what I live.
Sure.
It's not like saying, well, pick a niche. Like I'm, you know, I can't even get myself. I'm about, my whole thing was like turning 40. I'm about to fuck everybody up, like, you know, and like we went, you know, I'm training Luke Wilson right now. We got a bunch of more NFL guys coming back. I love that dude. I got crazy stories. But
he looks like he's a solid dude. Like I can just the interaction.
Oh man,
his
nutcase. That's why we get along. He's a nutcase, and he's in 7 days. You know, so we did the test. We did vertical jump to 10 yards. We did, you know, VBT profile, all that. And I'm like, yo, I'm gonna test with you, motherfucker. You know, because it's like I get in this competitive mode, you know, and it's like, and we're having a blast. And so inside of our gym, we have the Seattle Seawolves. You know, they ran our space. We have a collaboration. They pay us, but now they have their offices inside here too. And the strength coach for the Seawolves is Chris Toombs. Chris is a legend, by the way.
He's good.
You know,
he's very good.
He's the foremost expert on VBT in the world. Like the Seahawks are coming to us now
because
to learn.
Is he an Australian
VBT.
guy? Is he an Australian guy?
He's an English dude. So we have the Seahawks coming in to teach him VBT. I'm gonna try to get a consulting gig out of this, by the way. But Chris is like fucking dude. He's been doing VBT for 20 years. Like he's sharp, like at another level. So every day, like I'm learning. You know, all we do, we chatting, we're exchanging, we're learning. It's the best. Now, you know, we got the Kraken. One of the guys that used to go to my gym, but he's a renowned strength coach. He's now becoming the S&C coach.
That's the hockey team, right? That's the new hockey team. Yeah.
He's like, hey, I want to come train at Vig. I'm like, fuck yeah. Like, we're just gonna build a fucking like Avengers thingy, like you know, in there. But my point being is like I'm doing a vertical jump test. And dude, like, even like not specifically training for that, like, still good, man. I'm telling you, it's dangerous.
Yeah, man.
Don't get around me, son. And like, and now, but the thing is, it fires me up. So I realize, you know, Chris goes like, man, like you're never lost to have you. He's like, you're crazy. Like you, as soon as you put somebody, you know, and you got NFL player, and like I'm competing, like I'm smashing pros and stuff.
You
Like,
can
I'm
do
not, you know what
that
I mean?
because you never quit training. Like a lot of
I never
guys, when they build a business and things get
compound effect.
stressful, they quit training. And like what you've done, what I've done, even through my hip surgeries, always train, always train, always train, no matter what. And like you said, there's that compound effect again, right? So,
and I want to kind of piece this together and what I'm talking about. So I don't veer. I'm okay with veering off if I bring it back and make points, right? So that, you know, so that was kind of like the thing that I'm going into. But you know, if you go look at the last whatever, like YouTube 12 years of what I've been posting, it's fucking everything, right? And it's YouTube's growing to like whatever 70,000 subscribers, and it's completely unoptimized. You know, we're
lost your sound there. There we go.
It's just like I see somebody calls.
I got it.
I know when it's I know it's like a either a marketing call or like, hey, you owe us some money or some shit. But it, you know, like the thing is, like, people get inside of their head about that, and it's like, okay, well, listen, 7 hip mobility drills that will help your back feel better. Is that useful? Fuck, useful, man. Like, you know, people have been like, dude, I do these drills that you posted, and my shoulder feels better, my back feels better. Yo, you just created value for that person, right? And then as time goes by, you kind of start seeing like who is more of your audience, and you become a little more niche towards that, you know. But that's it. So, but I'll tell you, like, I mean, I shoot content all the time, and I'm all over the place because of what you said, right? When I'm learning, I like to teach as soon as possible. I like to apply it as soon as possible and teach it as soon as possible because that really locks it for me. And yeah, and so, like, you know, perfect example having Chris in, you know, I've learned more about, and I understood VBT, but like there's levels to this.
Yes,
shit,
there is.
right?
Yeah.
Like
Readiness assessments, all types of stuff. Yeah.
Oh my dude! But the thing is, but I have the guy that is the best at that in the world. And but most people won't. Like, I'm asking him 1 trillion questions. Like, now we're doing a course together, and I said, hey, listen, man, I got Tyler flying in because, you know, so my video guy comes about once a month.
I thought you said Tiger. I know Tyler. I'm about to say, did you just say Tiger?
Tyler came in, and I was like, hey, man, let's do a little 20-30 minute thing on VBT. And then, you know, and he's probably coming back, so we're shooting a course on it. Because he does the, like, I don't even want to probably, I mean, I know this won't be going out wide and whatever, but like, he does Dan Baker stuff, but like the contract runs out, whatever. So I'm gonna shoot a course. We're gonna probably put on Kajabi and shit, right? And Chris is like, fuck yeah, like, I'm helping relationship.
Helping him.
I'm helping him, like, right? So, but we shoot this probably, I think it was total 25 minutes or something like that. And, you know, what it will do, it will get people going like, damn, I need to understand this better. Because that was one of the things that the Seahawks bought all this fancy equipment. They don't really know how to use stuff, you know, to the T. Like, you need to understand it. It's not, you know, it's not like, oh, I got the put now. They got the, I think, Perch, which is like $6,000.
Big problem in sport performance, man. Buying a bunch of tech that people don't really know how to optimize, use, or apply. You know.
Exactly. And so, you know, which is dope. So now I'm learning, and I'm like always trying to learn. Like, I'm every day I'm fucking learning. Like, when it comes to coaching, business, market, it doesn't matter. So we shoot content, you know. Then I shoot a bunch of other videos, some Warrior Green stuff, some mobility stuff, and then I'm like, okay, well, like, let me kind of give like a 20 to 30 minute, like, I'm gonna draw out this athlete template, you know, that I use. It's not like the one, you know, the only thing that you can do, but I like it. So I draw this up on a whiteboard, and bam, I'm teaching, and I'm doing this, that, the other. And then, you know, Tyler does a bunch of B-roll, so we kind of plug. So there's like 2 videos that are like 20, 30 minute long content videos that are coming out next week, you know, that we shot. And actually probably 3 to 4. But so point being is, like, I'm learning stuff too when I took Luke on. Like, Luke is doing a whole off season with me, and he's training with me like 6-7 days a week. I got him doing boxing one time. But, you know, we do 4 strength sessions. And we have the whole breakdown. One day is aerobic capacity. One day we do mobility and high intensity continuous training and blah, 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 blah. So I see him all the time. But then I'm in the weeds, you know, like, still, like, and I'm like, I'm really good at this shit. Like, really, really, really good at this shit. But, you know, I ended up going back and buying some more DeFranco stuff, Need for Speed from Altis. And I, you know, I know Stu McMillan. I can text him, whatever, right? But I want to learn. And, you know, I got a text from Smitty to Joe D, like, hey, you know, oh, we saw you bought the CPPS football thing, right? Like, oh, thanks, man, you didn't need to. And I was like, yeah, man, like, one, I support you guys. Two, like, maybe I know 95% of it. Or maybe, you know, like, I'm fresh with 70 and I'll have a 20% reminder and 10% is going to be where I learn. And boom, I apply it. You know, and then it's like, boom, I apply it and then I get something out of it and then I teach it. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like, and that's the thing that I try to do, like, all the time. I legit, like, if I read a book and something is really profound to me, I'll write a note out of it, like what it meant to me. I might write a quote from the book and then write my own thoughts around it and put a dope picture on IG and be like, that's my quote. You know, like, that's how, because it almost is also my own kind of memoir, you know, insight, whatever else it may be, you know. So
one of the things I tell people to do like that is, if you're done reading a book, take your camera, flip it around, and just tell yourself what you just pulled out of that book. It's like a debriefing strategy every day when you read. If you just do that and kind of debrief on what you pulled from it, it's got a lot of value. Create a folder on your computer, drop all those lessons in there, and it's just a great way to reinforce that stuff and then catalog it as well.
Yeah, it's like, if you get good at, you know, I mean, Gary Vee talks about the whole documenting thing. I think that's kind of part of it. But it really just becomes a habit. Like, we build all these habits. My habit is, like, I feel really weird if I don't shoot some videos for a couple of days. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even know it. I'm like, oh, something feels off. You know,
I feel great.
And no, I know. I give you shit forever about that.
I'm getting there though. You see a couple posts here recently. I got ad posts up and shit. Like,
it's slowly but surely you're getting there, buddy. You're getting. But it's like, I think about this, and I'm always, like, churning, like, video ideas, you know, and like, this is where I also want to go. You know, like, I really believe that one of the things that's a huge opportunity for me is YouTube, product creation, courses. Like, I know that will do well, and, you know, me and Joel are working on the product. Joel Jameson's a business product, but probably coming out in March. You know, and actually we want to take money from that and get a full-time camera person. And because the thing is, like, for me, the value of having, you know, even if we split the camera person up, like, following me, because my day is nuts, man. Like, I can't even. It's just nuts, man. Like, it's just nonstop, right? And so there's always, like, if I could have somebody documenting stuff, there would just be content left and right. Right? Because even, like, when Tyler came in, he trained Luka, and it's just great B-roll.
Yep.
You know, just shooting that, like, how I'm coaching him, what we're doing 10 yards and breaking down a video, and then, like, the VBT, like, looking at the numbers, and like, it's just, that's value. And I mean, shit, like, half the people are like, I want to see how you do the group training, or how you do this, or how you do that. And it's so interesting too, because, like, for instance, like, I started training athletes, right? And I mean, and you're, like, in the sports performance world, you know, have been hardcore. Right? And I started training high school athletes, college athletes, some pro. And they really, you know, did well with it. But I was unknown, and like, the other shit exploded. Boot camps to semi-private. That put bread on the table. And I'm happy that it went that way, by the way, too. And you know how, like, it's so weird, because, like, how people see you and perceive you. But it was like, oh, this guy's the group training guy. He's the best at that, right? And then it was like, oh, shit, look at his business. And so he's the business guy, right? And like, I mean, we went for a long time. Like, I trained athletes, but it was such a small percentage, right? Like, I get people here, there, you know, so on and so forth. And then in the last couple years, and I think that I focused on it a little bit more too. As far as, like, man, I really enjoy it, and I took on folks, and I think, obviously, definitely on the baseball side of things, you know, that was another relationship thing, because Dr. Andy Galpin reached out to me and said, hey, listen, you know, we got a Major League Baseball guy. He's in Seattle. You're the only person I trust to train him. Would you be down? And I'm like, sure. It ended up being Trevor Bauer. You know, and Trevor Bauer trained at Vigor with me for about 4 months, 4.5 on off. Great. I mean, like, he was in and out a little bit, but, like, all in all, really good offseason. Like, put on 12 pounds, yada yada. Got rid of his injury completely. I mean, for anybody that doesn't know,
he just signed a big deal.
He was kind of, like, on down and out, man. You know, and, like, he won the Cy Young Award. He just signed the biggest contract in baseball history. Baseball history. $44 million for a year, $42 million for a year. 102 for 3. Yeah, like so. And people kind of, in the world. I mean, look, it is. The reality is, and it's like I'm not gonna say like because I did whatever. I mean, it's a team effort. He's a great dude. Worked his ass off. Yada yada yada. Right. But that shit does help. Then we had like 7-8 Seahawks. Then by the end of last preseason, I had a guy that didn't play for 2 years, and dropped 24 pounds, 11%, 12% body fat. Came in, ended up starting at the defensive line. Everybody's like, "Holy shit, what happened there?" Oh, well, so that snowballs, right? But like again, like everything is looping around. Like Andy reached out to me because we built a relationship, and he knew what I do and how I do it, and was like, "Yo, you're the only person I really trust here." Okay, cool. And then that happened, right? Everything snowballs, man. But like, I just spend majority, and now what the funny thing now is that like the Seahawks staff like, all right, we got to go to Vigor. What's going on there, man? This guy knows all, right? And it's like, I'm sure maybe in a year from now, somebody will say, like, Luka's a sports performance guy.
Right.
So,
yeah.
like, right?
Redefine.
Oh, hold up. What am I? Content guy, the mobility guy, the sports business guy, what the fuck, the charity guy? Like, I don't know, right? And I just don't buy into any of that. I don't. Like, to me, it's like, okay, here's this task, like, for Luke. Like, I want to have him have the biggest transformation after 8 years in the league out of anybody ever. And I know we'll do it. Like he's completely focused and committed. We got him, we got somebody cooking his meals to the macros I laid out.
He's doing Pilates and shit. I saw that. Video you shared.
Like I mean, it's like we're having a good time too, bro. That's the other thing, right? We bust our ass, but it's like we're having a good time, and it's like I'm just so committed to that process. But then here, like I'm committed to this. Like I just look at the task. I'm like, I want to do my best fucking work. I want it to be excellent. I want these people to win, whatever it is, man. Whoever I'm involved with, if I'm like, yes, I'm gonna do this, and even if it's free, I don't, it's I'm gonna fucking be all in with that task. And then you kind of you try to, and I'm not saying I'm perfect at this, but you try to detach from the outcomes, right? You try to detach from what's gonna happen. If this guy is gonna cover a Sports Illustrated, right? Like whatever, right? Like
yep.
You just detach and. What happens is that like every time you do your best work, I love what Seth Godin said. Seth Godin said, people don't want your authentic self. People want your best self, right? Your authentic self is a fucking like whiny little bitch sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Like a 5-year-old kid. Like, it's like that's authentic. Nobody wants that shit.
Yep.
When people come to see me, they want to see the best Luka. I'm gonna bring the best Luka. And then it's like, hey, listen. And this is some real shit too. Like I found out about Sam dying like during like a break in between my classes. You know what I'm saying? Between training sessions. And I went to the bathroom, came out, you know what I mean? And I ran a kick-ass small group, and I told a story. I got teary-eyed and nobody knew what was going on. And I went home later on that night and I reflected and tried some more, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I dealt with it, whatever, right? But it's like, and I get it, like people understand, but like I'm there to give them my best. You know what I'm saying? And if you always give your best, that shit compounds. And to tell you a story like this is, and I think when it compounds, you just get better and better and better and better at this stuff. Like Luke's the guy that like I would build a relationship with everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's possible for me now too. So we become friends, and I'm like, so we start talking about investments and shit like that, and in real estate. And obviously, I've done some real estate. I'm doing some more real estate. And he's like, "Oh, I'm interested in that." So one of my friends, Raquel, like, who trains at the gym, I've known her for a long time. I think you might have met her.
Yeah, I know Raquel. Yeah. Matter of fact, let me ask Mallory and Kagan to quit being so loud real quick. Hold on. Hey, guys, I'm doing a live interview. Can y'all be a little quieter, please? Jumping out of interviews to get my. We're all at the house, My bad.
And it was like I had a Raquel said, "Yo, let's do lunch." Like with the commercial real estate and some of the stuff we were talking about. I would just want to catch up. And hey, is it cool if Luke comes with me, right? He's like, "Yeah, cool." So we go to Hyatt. And like, Raquel's a boss.
Yeah.
She's a fucking boss.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so we're there, and Luke's like naturally curious. So he's asking 100 questions and she's just dropping like just dropping gems. You know what I'm saying? Like, because like she knows so much about the commercial real estate world. and building it. Like it's just, she just knows so much. Like it's like 17 layers of Inception that you don't know. You know, so he's just like, what? You can do that, and you can do this. So basically, you're telling me, you know, you can do this $10 million project, but only put down $1 million, and whatever. You know, like, yep, this is how you. Now, and all of a sudden, like, here we are, you know, hour and a half later. She's like, all right, I gotta go. You know, and we have a conversation, like, hey, look, like, she'll put some deals together if you want, bring them to you, and like, dude, this is, you know, this is cutting through all the bullshit. Like, this is like NDA type stuff, you know. Yeah, but what I'm saying is, like, you know, I'm instantly like, oh, I know this person, they're the shit, you know, and you know, he goes to her and goes like, look, man, I don't really trust people, but this guy's like the mayor here. Like everywhere I go, it's like, and like you know, like I see that people trust him. There's a reason for it, and like so naturally, like I trust, right? And the thing is, like sometimes it takes for me to even see all the like work from like so long, you know, like that compounds into these situations, because whether something happens, it's not against it will, right? But like, now who wins? Like, I mean, shit, everybody wins. How am I involved in this? I don't know. I don't care. Like, if he ends up making a shit money, great. I love it. He's winning. I help with that. Awesome. Fuck yeah. You know what I'm saying? She gets a point. She could, like, it's just, that's how, you know what I mean? And the thing is, and yes, like, it is a skill set. Like, I've built the skill set of relationship building. I've built the skill set of connecting. I've built the skill set of seeing angles, right? And I think part of it is, like, you do that by being around people that do that. You do that by reading books, genius people, and trying to take their perspectives. I mean, I try to learn how people see things.
Yeah, man.
Not the tactics. Tactics are cool, but I want to see, like, what angle are you taking? Well, how would Richard Branson see this? How would Naval Ravikant see this? How would he think about this? Right? And spend a lot of time churning. You know what I'm saying? Like he talks about thinking time. You know,
I remember that. Yeah, The Road Less Stupid. You put me onto that one. Yeah. That was a big one. In fact, that's even in my calendar now. Just a period of stillness, just to think.
Absolutely, man. Like, and it's you know, like, you come up with, I mean, and it's true, right? Like, it's true that, like, you really, if you're an entrepreneur, the most valuable thing that you can do is think. You know, the future, Naval talks about this too, right? Like, the future of how it changes and how we, you know, survive or don't destroy, or everything else, right, is probably, you know, he believes, I believe too, maybe the private sector. That's why capitalism is good, but it's because people think through problems and find solutions, right? But in fitness, I think, in general, but in fitness, definitely, we are. I mean, today, I got like 2 to 3 messages like, yo, like, I can see that the person doesn't want to think through it. They're just like, look, what are you doing? Can I look at you think? Can you add me to this group so I can see what you're doing? And I'm like, yo, think through this. Like, step back a little bit. What do you think will be beneficial for people? What do you think you could do here, right?
Yeah.
And it's so weird because, you know, I think sometimes people think that I'm like being lazy.
No.
You know, it's like,
right,
he doesn't want to just fucking give me the thing. It's like, listen, man, even if you're upset and leave like coaching or whatever, later you realize that, like, what I'm really helping you do is like build skill sets.
Yeah.
And one of the skill sets, most important skill set, which is the skill set of thinking. There's a time and a place. Like, you know, it's like, here's my template for this. Take it. Here's my this for this. Do this. Go ahead, do this. Right? But at the end of the day, there's nothing more valuable that I can help you do than think things through, shift perspectives, reframe your mind. You talk a lot about that, right? Like, those are like invaluable. They're superpowers, man. You know what I mean? Humility and courage, superpowers. Thinking, superpowers. How are you developing those things? You know what I mean? Relationship building, superpowers. Superpower. Superpower.
Think about how little people. I remember getting on an airplane one time. This is a couple years back. I was getting on an airplane, and as soon as I was on it, I was on my phone. Told me to shut the door, turn my phone off. I grabbed my book, and somewhere in that flight, I put the book down and was like, "Man, I spend no time thinking." This was way before you had told me. I mean, this is probably 7 years ago, but I just remember thinking it's very hard to just think these days. We've got so much stimulus coming at us at all times. So without creating like a practice of that, you're probably not thinking as good as you think you are. Like if you aren't setting aside time for that, you're not thinking things through the way that you probably believe you are. You're a little bit more reactionary.
I would say that, again, see, this is what I'm good at. Like, things are fresh from what I study, right? So I probably brought up Naval shit like 7 times,
That's
right?
good.
But it's good because it's relevant. And so the things that he said, there's something, and I have to repeat them because they make me remember, right? But he was talking about politics and said, if you agree completely with one side, the right or the left or whatever, you're not thinking for yourself. Too binary, and like, and this is part of the problem here, is that your thoughts get hijacked and you start becoming like, I agree with all of the things these people say. Right? I don't even agree with fucking all the things you say.
That's right.
Fuck you. No.
Oh, you talking to me for real?
No, but what we're saying is that, like, we can completely disagree on some things, and be completely fine and respect each other and learn from each other. And I'm like, I believe some of the things from the left and the right, and from some completely conservative, right? Like, because if I'm thinking them through, I'm like, well, yeah, that makes sense, but this other stuff doesn't, And we're not right now living in a world where kind of you get penalized almost to be like, well, no, you're either here or you're there. And I think it happens in business too, right? Where there's people that I'm like, yes. And then they say some other shit. I'm like, no, but they're really smart. They're really good. And actually their business is doing great. Like, right? And it's like, you can still be like, for me and from this, I don't know, right? You have to think about these things, man. And it's, and obviously it's like, as you're starting in an industry, it's a lot easier to be the cookbook person, right? Like, and maybe it's the right thing to do is like, okay, well, I see this person doing it this way. Let me cook that recipe like they're cooking it, right? But I do think that the sooner you start, shit, if I could have kids starting to read Stoicism, early, and do some drills and stuff, I mean, shit, like, it'd be a game changer, right? It'd be a game changer, right? And unfortunately, like, I think less and less people, sounds harsh, but it is, like, I think less and less people actually think for themselves.
It's harder to do it than ever.
It's hard. There's more distractions than ever, right? Like, because it's the hard. I forgot who said that, right? The hardest thing in the world to do is like sit with yourself in a room with no sound, no whatever for 30 minutes. That's meditation.
And
right?
social media feeds you an algorithm-driven bit of information, so you don't even get the contrasting points easily. You have to go search those out.
Yeah, and I think you need to take time to get away from. I mean, I love it here, like, pretty often. So Joel has a cabin about an hour here, in like beautiful, like in the mountains by the lake. And my phone doesn't catch shit. I don't get a signal, no Wi-Fi, no fucking nothing. And the first couple hours, I'm usually a little anxious, and after a couple hours, I'm just like free, like, and like there, I go there sometimes, and we'll go together and whatnot, but like, to think, sometimes to work, but like to think things through, to have space and not think, and that's when the good stuff starts happening and gestating. And I'm glad that I get to go to Austin and Miami for our mastermind, because like during the travels and the flights and driving in my car, in a rental, going, like, I churn a lot, and that space is really, really, really good for me. I just in general, man, like, I think more, if I said, what do I need to do more of, go back to that who, not how, is really dive deeper into the hows of some things, but then the rest give it to other people, the who's, the right who's for that situation. So I can spend more time doing this, because nobody that can do that like me. And I'm not trying to be like, I'm the greatest thinker ever. No, like, I'm saying that if I think things through for my businesses, for my life, nobody can do that
for you
better than me, for me, right? And I need to make that time and focus to do that. And I think that goes for everybody. Like, if you're, I say this 1,000 times over, and I'm perfectly fine with it, because, like Don Miller says, you got to say things 8 times for people to even register it. Not to like remember it forever, just to fucking like for it to be a blip on their radar. Like, but the watch and the wallet thing, right? Like, and I'm sure most people who watch this won't do it because it's scary, but like, look, anything that you tell me that's your, you know, reason / excuse for not, you know, getting more leads, making more money, blah 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 blah, including myself. I'm not exempt. Like, because blah 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 blah. Oh, cool. Let's look at your calendar. Like, I want to look at your whole day, right? Let me see what's happening in your whole day, okay? And what's gonna happen on your watch, right? So your watch, your schedule, your time. We're gonna see, like, how much are you coaching people? Where are you doing focused lead gen stuff? Where are you studying? Where are you thinking? Where are you doing customer service? Where are you doing systems? Where, right? And you're gonna find a whole bunch of time that's just full of bullshit, busy work, social media, whatever. Like, social media is fine, but it's like, what are you doing on it, right? Like, and quickly you'll realize, oh wow, I just found 10 hours per week. That if you focus to the thing that you can do, it's gonna start turning your life around. Okay, then you go like, oh, I can't, Andy, Luka, I can't invest in whatever, coaching, this, that, like, you know, spending some money on marketing, fill in the fucking blank, getting a coach for myself for fitness because I'm other shit, whatever, right? Like, and it's like, all right, let's look at let's look at where the money's going right now. Yep. And it's like, oh shit, wow, there's $400 worth of shoes. Oop, there you go, 6 times going out to have drinks this month. Okay, that's another $600 there. That's a G. You got a G to spend. And let's say you spend half of it. You can still keep some of the other stuff. Okay, $500, $6,000 a year. Invest in yourself, coaching, personal trainer, business coach. I don't know, right? Like, but that's the thing. You assess it, right? And the watching the wallet tells you what
it does.
Most of the time, it's subconsciously, right? I just don't have it. I just can't do it. I don't have the time. I don't have the money. Most of the time, you have both. You just have to manage and rearrange where your priorities are lying and where that stuff is going. And look, we like, just so you know, me and Andy are the same.
Yeah.
It's just new levels, new depth. That's it, right? Like, I'll tell you my day yesterday if you want to be a little anxious. Okay. So get up at 6:30. I got a call at 7. Business coaching call. At 8, I leave for the gym. At 8:30, I meet with Tyler. We shoot content literally till like 10:55. 10:55, I jump. I run upstairs at 11. I got my webinar for our Yoga Gym Mastermind. I do that from 11 to like 11:55. Boom, close the laptop, run down. Noon, I got a one-on-one personal client, a personal training client. At 1, I got another one-on-one personal training client. At 2, Mike Briggs comes in. I do boxing from 2 to 3. Luke Wilson comes in at 3. I have a little meeting with Chris Toombs. We go over some number stuff, what we're going to do. We train Luke till like 4:30, 4:40-ish. At 5 o'clock, I have my team training. At 6 o'clock, I have my small group. At 7 o'clock, I have 4 semi-privates. Get done with that about 8:15. Shoot 2 content videos. Start training at 9, legs. Get fucking done at 10:30, 10:40. Do a call with Slovenia. Get home at 11. Cook. Watch a webinar while I'm cooking. Eat food. Read 45 minutes. Pass the fuck out.
Here we are.
Wake up in the morning and call it in. Bro, like 0. Now the thing is, every day is not like that, but it's, you know, and the thing is, I'm saying this for a couple of reasons. Not to be like, I mean, maybe part of me is virtual signaling and being like, you know, I'm working really
Can't
hard.
outwork me.
But I'm actually, but for me too, is like, you know, that was actually a very productive day, like crazy productive day. But I would look at that day and the day before and the day before and go like, okay, look, what can I outspend? Can somebody else coach this person? And like, I love coaching, so I actually love coaching people. But can somebody else do this? What can we do here? How can we, you know, can I take this day off for half a day? Can I, you know, like, you got to constantly rearrange it based on where you are in your life. You know, maybe some days that were fine, you know, 10 years ago, I can't be living that same day if I want to get to the level I want to, right?
Yep.
And so, and the thing is, it's key, one, for you yourself to be aware of this, to surround yourself with people that will go like, hey, listen, man, I noticed this, bro. Like, how do you do that? Maybe it would be smarter to do blah, blah, blah. You know, you love and respect those people. You'll be like, shit, maybe they're right. You know, or if you invest in coaches and the coaches are like, yo, that's dumb. Or they ask you a good question that makes you be like, oh shit, that's dumb, right? So, and you kind of see, like, a lot of the things that we're talking about, you know, you're seeing how they're all very, very connected, right? Like, there's some themes that are just constantly going on here.
Yeah.
That, you know, that is a forever skill set. Like, I'm phenomenal at like coaching and content and building relationships. I can get way better. Like, I feel dumb, right? You know, like I know I'm good at stuff, like, but every day I wake up and I'm just like, I want to be better, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's just almost, I'm addicted to improvement. I'm addicted to helping people, that feeling I get from it, you know, and I'm cool with that, man. Like, if I'm gonna have some addictions, then shit, like,
Those are good ones to have.
those
Yeah.
are good ones. I've had some really bad addictions, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like, I
man.
don't, you know, these are way better.
Yeah. And man, this is, I've got to get off here, but as you know, I could talk to you for hours about this. I really hope one lesson that kept popping in the back of my head that I want to share, become a great listener, because I talk to you almost every day. I see you all the time, and there's still things that I pulled out of this conversation for me. Okay. And a lot of people these days, they're so used to getting information in these small sound bites that they become very poor at locking in and listening. And one of the things I love about you, though, is that you will go off on tangents and come back. And I train myself to follow those things with you. I don't let them distract me. And a lot of people, I've talked to a million people at seminars. I'm sitting right next to them. Somebody presents, I'm like, what'd you think? And they'd be like, I ain't get much out of it. And in my head, I'm like, what? How the hell did you not get that much out of it? I think people just are not good listeners anymore. Other thing I want to highlight is what we started off, and how ironic is it that that's actually the first book you told me about, is this idea of the compound effect. These small daily things that you do absolutely every day that will compound, whether that's in the container of your investment in your knowledge or building relationships. There's these small daily tasks that if you focus on them and you do them forever, they compound. And that's the key to having relationships that open up doors and open up opportunities, and then help you eventually suddenly become a big deal, right?
Yeah. Just remember that one. Honestly, we said it at the beginning, but it's like, everything that you want, if you do the right things, it'll happen gradually
And then
suddenly.
That's perfect, man. Well, I appreciate you, brother. I love you, man. Thank you for this. And
Right back, my brother.
talk soon. Hope you guys got a lot
Peace
out
out.
of this as well.